Lego Harry Potter years 1 to 4. Ever since I was blasted out my dad's testicles, this has been one of my top 5 games in history, along with these other 4. Okay, I don't know what that game is doing there. And I've always wanted to do a video on this game without it just being a standard boring playthrough, and it had me thinking, how accurate is the Lego Harry Potter games to the movies? So today, I'm going to play through the first year of this game and compare it to the Philosopher's Stone, or for people that make sweet love to their sister, the Sorcerer's Stone. But enough squabble, let's just get into it. For context, this video is going to be a lot of voiceover, so if you don't like that, then suck my testicles. Anyway, I headed into the game before being ear raped by the music, so I immediately turned that shit down. And with that, the first level begins, where we find Dumbledore embarking on his furry arc to see McGonagall being like, what the fuck are you doing? Before Hagrid inconspicuously destroys all the greenery in the neighborhood. Having probably broke his leg, he hands Dumbledore Harry Potter, who probably now has brain trauma from Hagrid's drink driving. Flash forward 12 years ago, Mr. Dursley gets bukakied by Hogwarts letters, and Harry's thinking, fuck this, I'm out of here. So then we eventually find this old man and a 12-year-old boy ending up in London together, and the first level begins. Usually in Lego games, I take down destroying every local environment to achieve true wizard, but I think I'm going to take a different approach this time and focus on the story until I get that stub multiplier. But anyway, back to the story. Hagrid uses this dildo that he claims as a wand, so Harry can grab a lever and we enter Diagon Alley.
Diagonally.
For this part, we needed to find a spider, a flower, and ice cream for some reason, which somehow creates a vat of C4 which explodes Diagon Alley. To flee the cops, we enter Gringotts to get that sweet cash. This golem-looking fella stops doodling and it unlocks the entrance to the vault. To get to the vault, we had to end up going on the Smiler, and somehow we did not break the legs of 3 kids, and we ended up in the vault. One Travis Scott concert later, and we find a bunch of cash and leave to get a wand. It seems like everywhere this prepubescent boy goes, he just ends up being Guy Fawkes and committing grand arson to everyone, destroying Ollivander's shop. However, on the plus side, we got a nice new wand and ended up going to Hogwarts. At the station, we ended up meeting this Pillock Ronald, who crashes into the boy who lived, and after recovering from a mild concussion, he murders Harry once again, breaking his glasses. Hermione pulls up like a bad smell and with her Riz is able to save the day so Harry doesn't have to go Stevie Wonder style through the game. And we eventually get to Hogwarts, and with that is the sorting hat. With it up in the air whether Harry is a prick or not, this Diglett looking thing on his head picks Gryffindor, and hunky dory, we're in the common room. I think that first level is a good benchmark to show the comparison to the Philosopher's Stone so far. Just from the first 15 minutes of playtime, which you may not think is a long time. However, most of my sexual experiences last 3 minutes, and 2 minutes of that is me struggling to unbuckle my belt. But anyway, comparing to the movie, 15 minutes in only gets you to when Harry Potter and the Dursleys are fleeing the country from the Mafia and ending up on a weird island before fat as Hagrid pulls up offering a cake. So from that, it seems like the Lego movies already tried to speed through the first half hour of the movie. They didn't even cover the Parseltongue portion where Harry rizzes up a snake to bumfuck Dudley. But then again, it's not that important at the moment and just sets up Harry being a Parseltongue, which isn't really helpful when he only communicates in porn style moans. Back to the game. I did have to reload the game, which made me rewatch Ron break all of Harry's limbs, but eventually we made it back to the common room. I attempted to collect that sweet purple stud to get that cash, but instead I ended up looking like a shit street magician as I struggled to get it. I eventually sat that off and went to see what the game had to offer. Upon entering the main common room, I ended up killing some poor sleeping man, turning him into mac and cheese, and unlocked Griffin Boy? Okay, that's it, game complete. Upon celebrating for about an hour about this mythic pool, I tried to leave to enter Hogwarts when a wardrobe proceeded to eat the first year's pants and then guard the door. You really have to enter, I was on a roll. Stop and breathe. No, I got it. I tried to leave to enter Hogwarts and then a wardrobe proceeded to eat the first year's pants and then guard the door. I didn't know Diddy was in Hogwarts. I then gave him some old man pants and he had a change of heart and we left to see Hogwarts. After forcing suicide upon Scabbers for a couple times, we made our way to learn our first spell. Wingardium Leviosa.
It's Leviosa, not Leviosa.
Oh, fuck off, Hermione. Starling shows up to show us how it's done, and then Ron ends up murdering 3 of his classmates and hanging them from the ceiling. So the mission became simple. Save the 3 hanging people. Which was surprisingly easy. I know this game is for 6-year-olds, but come on. And with that, we had learned our first spell. So after causing havoc to the local Hogwarts pupils, we went outside to commit no more crimes. We defaced school property. But we saved this man's marble and somehow got a student in peril, so our wanted level just went down a star. After deconstructing and reconstructing my pillar, the doors finally thought I did a good job and we progressed forward. As I was figuring out how to enter the dining hall, I thought I would take up the job as a janitor as I cleaned some antique shit and reconstructed a chain of armor. After walking around for a minute thinking how the fuck did we get in here, I hit that Expelliarmus and somehow we entered the dining hall. But of course a chode Malfoy couldn't let a good time happen, so throws human shit in Hermione's face. After appearing to do blackface, she sprints off to the toilet as one does. Only for this definitely not suspicious man telling everyone there's a fuck off giant in Hogwarts. The whole dining hall remains calm to analyze the situation. It descends to shit. In the chaos, Ron and Harry fulfill a Discord mod fantasy and sneak off to the toilet to spy on Hermione, or something like that. And that's where the level begins, as the giant is on an unstoppable mission to perv on underage girls, first by destroying half of Hogwarts on his trail. To stop the stench coming from the broken pipes, Scabbers vents to shut off the protruding smell, which upsets the giant even more, as he twats some poor mermaid. To make the mermaid feel a bit better, we set this poor fucking guy on fire, which pleased the mermaid, who proceeds to hit a Tiger Line-like drive into Azkaban. Seeing this and scared as fuck, the giant sprints his way to the toilet to complete his journey, needing a disguise to get in the girls' toilets. The boys decide to bargain with this old wizard who somehow had underage girl outfits, and Ron and Harry undergo a sex change which somehow fucking works, and they pull up to save Hermione. Whilst the boys are deciding which outfit fits their eyes best, the giant is taking a fat shit which clearly swoons Hermione, who goes to check out the funky smell. Whilst Hermione is in danger of fucking dying, I first decide to clean up the place by sweeping and hopping around on a plunger before giving the giant a severe concussion, and that's where the level ends. Eventually the whole squad proceeds to show up and are confused why the boys are sneaking around the girl's bathroom in a dress. But thankfully Hermione saves her ass by coming out of hiding. Oh yeah, this guy surely is not the villain. He's not suspicious at all. I think now is a fair time to make a comparison to the movie. Firstly, Wingardium Leviosa is pretty much the same. Good job, TT Games. Ron is still useless, but at least in the movie he didn't hang people. But of course Lego are always doing some caboodle and the sex change didn't happen, but at least Quirrell is still kinda sus, look at that. I mean, I wouldn't let him near any of my children, but after completely exploding the girl's bathroom, it was about time to learn the coolest spell in the game. The most effective spell against enemies. We learned how to make a torch. Hogwarts is shit. So we turned our way back over to the communist regime as Stalin turns the room into Astroworld and Ron begins to bust it down. Hating the horrific sight of Ron's moves, Stalin decides to destroy the concert by shattering the disco ball, which is now protected by vines. Using Lumos, I went around destroying all the vines before collecting them, thinking it was smart and time efficient. As a punishment for outsmarting the game, however, I got struck with the band hammer and got disconnected. So thank you guys for watching. After watching Ron hit the Dougie for the second time tonight, we did the mission collecting all the pieces one by one and unlocked Lumos. Now learning Lumos, we destroyed the vines by knocking off areas of the maps that the janitor gave up on cleaning. And with that, we made our way to Severus Snape. Whilst there, he teaches us how to get a new workout regime by making a potion which definitely does not give you PEDs. By the way, the potions in this game make no sense. By collecting a weird claw, a snake tooth, and a bone, not my uncle's, you can just turn into the Hulk and pull levers that only fat-ass Hagrid could do before. But after creating the potion, Hermione injects Tren into her system and we learnt our second potion of the game. On the way to our next class, I spotted a poor pupil being bullied. And you know what we do to bullies? We fucking kill them. The bullies proceeded to then piss their pants and sprint off, giving us another student in peril as we made our way to herbology. Herbology class gets a bit sus as the teacher begins to get groped by plants and Ron gets a bit too gassed about it, and as a punishment, he gets Jeffrey Dahmered by the same plants and encased in vines. I mean, if Poison Ivy did this to me, then I'd get half chucked. But getting touched by these weird vines it kinda creeps me out. To save Ron, we built a chariot from the 1600s and fired it at his head, destroying the entirety of the herbology lab. We can add that to the resume of Potter's crimes, along with arson and sneaking into the girls' toilets. After herbology, we had no time to waste as we sprinted to Quidditch to learn the most confusing sport in fictional history. Upon entering the Quidditch lesson, Neville gets a bit too big for his boots and starts twatting himself off buildings as if it's 2001. Of course, Malfoy can't go a day without being a prick and launches a glass cylinder at some sort of dragon, and it's our job to save the day. Hermione first attempts to ride the broom and ends up having a seizure on it, which it wasn't a very good start. But then, of course, Harry has to be fucking good at everything and instantly save the day with about 50 zoom-ins. just in case we didn't see it the first 3 times. And with that, we made the Quidditch team and get chosen to catch our first snitch. Making our way to the first big Quidditch game of the season, we roamed the corridors when a problem came our way. Once again, the janitors of this mystical realm can't clean up the smallest shrubbery and leave shit boarded up. So we take up our new day job as a cleaner. Don't know why Dumbledore hasn't sorted this shit out yet. We began to rummage through bushes like a weirdo to drink that strength potion that we learnt with Snape, to attempt to stretch Armstrong to wheel this massive hamster ball into Hermione's skull and kill her. To escape the feds once again, Harry hops on his broom and flies over the broken bridge. I mean, seriously, Dumbledore, come on.
How did you do that? Funny.
And the gang meets up to watch Harry play Quidditch. But before we get into the highs and lows of Quidditch, I think it's important to explain how it works, because I don't really get it myself. So you have 2 teams, in this case it's Slytherin and Gryffindor, pretty much the only 2 houses that matter in this movie, and both teams have to throw this ball looking thing into hoops to gain points. Okay, now you remember that explanation? Well, take that explanation and throw it out the nearest window, because if you catch the golden snitch running about, then you win the entire game and everyone else goes home unhappy. But with that amazing explanation out of the way, we enter the level to find Harry getting gassed on his broom after seeing his friends in the crowd. After being a dick for about 20 minutes, he proceeds to go apeshit on his broom, appearing as if this is some dodgy new party trick.
Today is Thomas Cup's birthday, and this is Project X.
But Hermione knows better, and after some smart detective skills, she figures out that Snape is up to some kind of funny business, while Quirrell says an innocent little prayer in the stands. And with that, the mission begins. And the mission was quick. It wasn't boring or anything, just quick. Oh yeah, and we fucking killed this guy. The mission ends with us setting Snape on fire and Harry nearly dies only to perform a magic trick and the snitch appears in his ear, finally allowing Gryffindor to win, which never usually happens in this series. Bonjour! Hola! Greetings. Okay, this is the part of the game where they go a bit rogue and muddle the order from the movie. Firstly, learning Quidditch happens way earlier in the movie as well as Snape's lesson. Both of them happening before learning Wingardium Leviosa.
Not Leviosa.
After just shut up! As well as this, the Jeffrey Dahmer scene doesn't even appear in the movie. So clearly TT Games are on that sweet ganja when making the game. But overall, this is where the Lego game keeps the same overarching story to the movie. However, mix and match the middle section of the movie to keep the pacing strong and add new game mechanics for the game to, you know, switch it up a bit. But back to the story. After that big win in his debut Quidditch game, does Harry take on the town? Does he go on Hollywood stars and celebrities? What do they know? Do they know things? Let's find out.
You serious right now?
And now he cleans up Dumbledore's mess by fixing this bridge. But at that moment, the Christmas season hits. Joy is in the air. Hagrid acts like he's in a brothel. Ho, ho, ho. And the boys receive presents. Ah, how festive. Ron is the first to open up his gift, and of course he gets his clap sweater. But what does Harry get, I wonder? As an escapee of an abusive home, and both his parents are dead, you'd think Harry would get a similar level gift. Ah, for fuck's sake. Harry gets a Discord mod stream outfit with an invisibility cloak and celebrates with a twerk. Nicki Minaj style. After that, the 2 boys fuck around with Finch for a bit, who probably thinks he's going senile, and the level begins as we enter the forbidden section of the library. Harry immediately gets chomped by a book, and to get his revenge, goes sneak mode and fucks him up. This level, Ron ends up being an absolute G, and somehow uses Expelliarmus, which he originally was quite shit at, as we build another bomb to explode Hogwarts. On our steady mission to join a terrorist organization, we take time to destroy Finch's cat. For some reason. After struggling to figure out what wire not to cut,
Green wire.
shit, we explode half of Hogwarts and go to the next section. In this area, Finch gets his revenge and finally gropes Harry. While Finch is shaking Harry's lifeless body, Ron refuses to help as the great friend he is and finishes the puzzle and unlocks the key to the next door. After murdering Scabbers once again, we unlock this door to explore Hogwarts further, and the level ends with this mirror. This mystical mirror shows the desires of the one that looks in it. Harry wholesomely sees his deceased parents, being an orphan himself, whereas Ron pictures himself getting laid. After having a prolonged gooning session in the mirror, Dumbledore pulls up to join and pulls out a weird looking rock. Perhaps that might be the Philosopher's Stone. Oh my— Nope. It's crack. Okay then. But after that mission, there was no messing about as we enter the penultimate level. We first go off to find Hagrid for some reason as we see him nursing a 1 HP unicorn. Fang, with his beautiful nose, senses a dickhead outside and was correct to do so as Draco Poomouth is there spying on him. As Malfoy gets his face mauled off by Fang, the unicorn that was originally on his deathbed gets hit with a nano boost and the gang have to relocate the mythical creature. Exploring the Forbidden Forest, we find the good old unicorn being munched by a Dementor. Next thing you know, the gang is split up and the level begins. In this level, we have control of Hagrid, Hermione, Pussy, and Godly Dog, and I say that because he can climb fucking ladders with ease. I mean, if that was me, I'd try and climb up 5 steps and then plummet to my eventual death. Fang continues this weird superhero shit and digs up a crater-like hole, and the level continues. The Lumo spell we learned previously comes in handy and causes another goddamn explosion, and with that we enter this game. One drowning lady and a moon-sized crater later, Hagrid ends up pulling this random lever, showing his massive testicles.
Oh my god.
I don't remember writing that in the script. To try and complete the level, Hermione tries to save the day and plummets off a cliff, which finally means Ron gets to do something instead of being an absolute pillock. And the level ends with a hunky Minotaur exploring bestiality and making out with the unicorn. Ah, what a wonderful love story. And once again, there was no playing games. No game of hopscotch or hide the zucchini in the break, as we sprinted off to the final level. To start the level, we ended up following definitely non-suspicious Quirrell as he invites us into a weird room. Of course, being Hogwarts, we pull up on a 3-headed dog just chilling out to some soothing Mozart, until Quirrell switches up on us and destroys the heart. Next thing you know, Louis Armstrong takes the floor and the dog just wanted Ron to shut the fuck up.
Kill yourself!
To calm the dog down, we attack some poor pensioner and rob his rubber duck. This rubber duck then teleports into the dog's mouth, tickling his pickle. To try and chloroform the dog further, we built this harp and successfully drugged the dog as we dip down the hatch. Of course, minute 1, Ron gets held hostage, and using Lumos, we save his life. Being lost for about 5 minutes, I eventually went down the very obvious hole as we fall another 20 feet. Going through the caves, we needed to grab this inconspicuous key, so we blinded the janitor who had been missing the whole fucking time, for Christ's sake, and we steal his broom. Ron first attempts to get on the broom, but is horrified of heights, so Harry Potter, the cocky knob, has got to get the key with ease. And with that, we came to the famous chess scene. We started versing Magnus Carlsen, who proceeded to fuck us up, until Ron became a cowboy and our queen busts a crazy move to win the game. Ron, being the absolute donut he is, trips over the very obvious sword on the floor, and the two leave him to die. We then see this mystical mirror we saw previously, and Harry Potter discovers the infamous Philosopher's Stone in his pocket. And with that, the very innocent Quill becomes a BT Voldemort and the boss fight begins. The way to take down this bald guy was actually very easy. We needed to send specific spells back at Quirrell before giving him the cheese touch.
Good God, man. Almost got the cheese touch.
Which damages him, which was once again very easy. And we killed him by ripping him limb from limb. The Marvel post-credit scene to the boss fight sees Dumbledore not caring about this war veteran and goes over to this 8-year-old, and as the 80-year-old man himself, rewards these 12-year-olds with sweets, and that's the first year done. Okay, here's my last interjection of the game to provide some expert analysis between the two media interpretations. Yeah, I know big words. Like bukkake. But this last section of the game is almost parallel to the movie. The invisibility cloak and the Forbidden Forest level play out pretty much similar to the movie. Fuck that voice crack. Whilst the cheese touch is crucial to the movie's crescendo. The only nitpick I have is that we see the 3-headed dog for the first time in the last level, whereas in the movie we see it in the middle. But overall, the LEGO game does a good job in telling the final story of Philosopher's Stone, and Dumbledore still gives out sweets, so he's still a pedo. But replaying the first year of this game and rewatching the movie, it re-sparked my love for the Harry Potter franchise, both games and movies. Especially over this Christmas period, it's like my Home Alone, except it's virgins and wands. But back to the main point of the video, are these mediums similar? Yeah, of course they are. They both follow the same plot of discovering Quirrell as the main villain from Hogwarts and defeating him, whilst also building the world. I'll give it an 8 out of 10 on resemblance.
You're a donut! You're so stupid!
I'm giving you a little post-credit scene myself. I know I've been gone for a while, and for that, I'm sorry. The upload schedule did not maintain one bit. I was doing well, and then, yeah, it went to shit. I took a bit of a mental health hiatus, but we're back now, and we feel fucking awesome. But yeah, let me know how you feel about this style of video. It is a little different to what I usually do, but you know, I wanted to try something different, and also let me know how good my analysis was of the two things. I've never really done anything like this before, so if it's dog shit and I'm completely wrong, take it up in the comments.